Dakota Kim, Pest Magazine's food editor, and I'm here with Viraj Puri, the CEO and co-founder of Gotham Greens, and we're here to talk about the incredible greenhouse that he's pioneered.
Well, welcome to our greenhouse. We're located on the 4th story of an industrial building in Jamaica, Queens. And this was an abandoned rooftop with not a lot of usage, and we've transformed it into this state-of-the-art 60,000 square feet climate-controlled greenhouse facility for fresh vegetable production. And as you noted, this is one of our 4 greenhouses, and this is our largest in New York City. It focuses on different types of leafy greens, lettuces, and herbs that we grow year-round for New York chefs, retailers, food service providers. And it's unique in some ways compared to our other greenhouses because it has a great degree of automation in it. We're really being able to move a lot of plants through this facility, create a lot of density, and it's 60,000 square feet, which is about 1.5 acres, but we get the yield closer to a 15 or 20 acre conventional farm. It was a team effort to create these greenhouses. So my partners in the business, our chief greenhouse officer, spent a great deal of time on the overall layout of the facility, the equipment selection. We work with architect and engineer partners as well as vendors who provide different components of this greenhouse. So we've got sensors located all over that are tracking temperature, humidity, light level, CO2, oxygen, and other variables. And then all that information we supply to a computer control system that we program to turn the equipment on and off to achieve the desired conditions we want in the greenhouse. So a lot of that equipment selection was our technical team, our chief greenhouse officer, and then we work with different consultants to kind of create the best system. And the goal is to create the optimal growing conditions for the plants here so we get a very reliable, consistent yield of premium quality produce.
And so much is automated here. For instance, if it's too hot, the computer automatically knows. Did you guys create that whole system?
We've come up with a lot of recipes, whether it's climate recipes, whether it's nutritional recipes that are proprietary to us that help us kind of create the best tasting produce and the highest yields that we can get per square foot. A lot of the hardware has been sourced from different manufacturers in the horticultural industry or in the sensor industry. So it's a combination of kind of in-house expertise and leveraging kind of industry know-how with hardware specialists.
And this technology is so important to food now. Do you feel that you're kind of at the forefront of that and always learning more and trying to stay ahead of that?
There is an enormous amount of investment, research, and excitement about incorporating more technology in our food system and how we produce food. So absolutely, our R&D team is always staying abreast of the latest developments with different types of techniques and technologies that are relevant for our business. But more globally speaking, it's fascinating how much infusion of technology there is in the entire food system, whether it's production of food, the distribution of food, spread of information. So it's definitely an exciting time to be in food, and there's such a renaissance going on with food as well, how people are just so much more drawn to the sustainability of the production of food, health and wellness, the health of the environment, and just overall transforming our food system to make it more just, make it more equitable, make it more sustainable long-term, both financially and from a resource perspective. So we definitely try to stay involved with all the trends in technology.
And that was your original purpose when you first came to found Gotham Greens. You had a higher purpose besides just wanting to just deliver delicious produce.
Absolutely. My founders and my partners and I, when we came up with this concept, it was very much to address a lot of the ecological issues facing our food system, the high water use, high land use, enormous use of chemicals in our food production, as well as the long-distance food transportation, which has fossil fuel impacts as well as degrades the quality and the nutrition of the food that we eat. So for instance, on the East Coast of the United States or the Midwest, most of the salad greens and the fresh vegetables we eat actually come from places like California or Mexico that are 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 miles away. So that food, once it's harvested, actually has to be transported across those distances to reach urban consumers and to reach consumers on this side of the country. So what we're getting as consumers is an inferior product. It's not as nutritious, not as fresh, and it just has a lot more impact to it. So our concept was to bring agriculture in closer proximity to the consumers and do it in a sustainable way that uses renewable energy, uses less water, uses less chemical inputs, and doesn't pollute the environment. So that was really the idea and the thought, the foundation upon which our company was founded, and since then it's really evolved into a medium-sized business now with operations in 2 different states and about 130 employees. So it's been very satisfying that we just took this concept and now have really turned it into a business.
So you use a lot of innovative methods like integrative pest management. Can you tell us how you manage the pests that are in the greenhouse?
Absolutely. It's one of our most distinguishing features is our produce is pesticide free, which is quite difficult to do because despite being in an urban environment, we do get lots of pests, little pests that things like aphids and thrips and whiteflies and things that can affect the crop. So rather than use harmful chemical pesticides, we rely on the introduction of predatory or beneficial insects into the facility. So we actually introduce thousands and thousands of predator insects into the greenhouse to fight the good fight for us. And so they're amongst our most valuable and prized team members.
You're bringing nature into the greenhouse a little bit, letting them fight their own fight.
Exactly.
You're determined to use clean energy here, and is that also something that you try to put forward and teach others about, and teach the restaurants and grocery stores and other places you work with as well?
We certainly share a lot of sustainability values with many of our customers. The restaurants that we work with, the retailers that we work with all increasingly care about sustainability, about getting a fresher, more nutritious product grown with less impact. So that's definitely a shared ideal. We try to offset 100% of our electricity from renewable sources, so that's something that's very important to us. It's often difficult to do, it's a little bit more expensive, but we're just trying to help contribute toward moving away from a fossil fuel economy, and renewable energy is a great way to do that. So these greenhouses, in order to operate them year-round, are climate controlled. We've got equipment, computer control systems, fans, heaters, lights. So in order to offset our energy usage, we have on-site as well as off-site purchased renewable electricity.
That's amazing. What are the restaurants and grocery stores that you work with that you're really proud to partner with?
We're proud of a lot of the restaurants and supermarkets that we partner with and food service customers. A few that come to mind in the restaurant space are places like Gramercy Tavern in Manhattan. They have such a strong local farm buying program all through the 4 seasons. They're really committed to buying sustainable ingredients, whether it's the meats, the proteins, the produce, the alcohol. They just really try to focus on vendors and partners that care deeply about the environment and sustainability. So Gramercy Tavern is one of our best partners. On the retail side, a very close partner is Whole Foods Market. They're probably industry leading in many ways in terms of really supporting local and sustainable and organic farmers and producers. So those are 2 that come to mind.
You have a farm there at the Gowanus location of Whole Foods. Does the produce just go straight from there into the grocery store?
That's right. So that's a really exciting project for us that we completed in 2014, where we built one of these greenhouses actually on the roof of a Whole Foods in Brooklyn, New York. So you're right, the produce gets harvested daily and just taken down the elevator directly onto the produce section. So customers are not getting produce much fresher than that.
They should be able to go up and pick it themselves eventually.
Eventually.
So any particular dishes that these restaurants make with your produce, with your basil?
Oh, there's all kinds of interesting recipes that our chef partners come up with to use our greens in novel ways. I mean, there's simple ways like using our butter lettuce on a burger, using our basil in some of the best pizzas in the city, like Pizza Loves Emily, as well as Citi Field, where the New York Mets play. The pizza concepts there now use our basil. And we've partnered with ice cream companies to infuse our basil into some of the gelatos and ice creams, chocolate, pizza sauce, salad dressings. So there's a lot of exciting ways in which our ingredients are being used in dishes, at restaurants, but also with other artisanal local food manufacturers.
And what's your hope with the future here in terms of, do you hope to increase output, create more farms, or are there other varieties you want to farm, other crops you want to grow?
A little bit of both. We're hoping to increase our productivity of our existing products that we grow, build more urban farms in New York and Chicago, the 2 cities that we're active in, as well as other cities. So we're looking at a number of other cities to open these types of greenhouses to bring more fresh local produce to those communities, as well as diversify our product offerings. While just trying to play a small role in revolutionizing and changing our food system. This is one solution. There's going to be many. We're not going to be able to produce all the different crops that make up a person's diet from these urban greenhouse facilities. It's limited to certain types of crops, but I still think it's important to grow those varieties, those highly perishable crops, and provide environmental education opportunities and overall awareness, I think, to consumers to demand produce and food overall that's grown more sustainably.
And is that something you already do with bringing adults or students in to learn from the systems here?
Yeah, we support a lot of environmental education efforts. We donate a lot of seedlings to hundreds of community gardens and schools across New York City and Chicago. We work with various food rescue organizations and food banks across the two cities as well as do special tours for different groups that are interested in sustainable agriculture and clean technology.
And if you could add any one crop to the greenhouse and grow it just for your own pleasure, what would it be?
That is a tough question to answer. There's so many. I mean, I personally love strawberries, so we definitely want to give a hand at strawberries.
Some wild strawberries.
And maybe some grapes and hops, and maybe we can start making some craft wine and craft beer as well. So
that sounds amazing. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for coming.
This is Dakota Kim with Puri at Gotham Greens. Thank you so much for joining us.